Well, I'm Matt.
And I'm Carter.
And welcome to It Is Kind of a Gray Area.
Welcome back, folks.
Today we are talking to Kevin Allen from KAL Experience.
Yep, our first collaboration, which is awesome.
Yes, so let's get into it.
We wanted to kind of go over like what our channel's about and then also what your channel's about. So if you want to kind of give us a good rundown on why you started your channel and what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the channel, it's called KAL Experience. It's a weekly YouTube show. I should be looking right here. It's a weekly YouTube show. And yeah, so it's mostly about music and personal development. These are two things that I'm really passionate about, and two things that I would consider myself, knowledgeable about, excited to talk about things like that. I started playing the piano not too long ago. I produce music as well. One of my big goals in life is to place my music either in a video game or in a cartoon or a television show or something like that. And yeah, I've been with the channel now for about, I think like eight months now and it's going really well. I'm really loving it, and I'm just excited for opportunity to partner with you two gentlemen today and talk about some really exciting stuff.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's really awesome. And I mean, we're
almost a year.
We're almost a year.
Yeah, I
wow.
think we're like 11 months old.
Yeah,
yep.
Almost a year old. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you've checked out our channel at all, but like, I mean, mostly just kind of talk about ridiculous topics, weird moral gray areas that everyone kind of runs into, and then just anything that we can kind of make into a gray area. Like sometimes it's more stuff like should we weaponize sharks? Or like,
that was a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really like an ethical dilemma. I guess it is. If that was a potential, it would be an ethical problem.
We had 10 minutes of rambling on it, so we found a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. Dang it.
Yeah, that's where Kevin
there.
is. Yeah.
Yep.
He's there for us, but editing wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a little weird. It was like I'm trying to talk to you guys, but then I have to look here. I'm still trying to figure that piece out. But I'm sure once we start getting into the meat and potatoes of the episode, I'm sure it'll just be just whatever kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and dive into it, I guess, if you guys are both ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm so ready. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honor.
Yeah.
Honor.
Yeah.
All right.
Go. Yep.
Oh, please. All right. So you told us what you want your show, your channel to be about, and I rewatched your episode 00 first, the beginning, and yeah, you said that you really wanted it to be about. Hold on, I took notes.
Nice.
Yes, you wanted it to be uplifting, and you wanted to inspire people, which is awesome. I can't think of a better reason to start a YouTube channel. It really kind of kills our reason.
Right. No, we're just doing it for fun.
Yeah, people, we have ridiculous conversations just in real life, and then because this isn't real life, and then
this is all staged,
and then people are just like cracking up at our conversations, like, you guys should film this, and we're like, okay. So that's kind of where this happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of got like sort of real-time feedback from people who were enjoying the conversation that you guys and the stories and things that you guys have done, and that's really cool to me. That's like it's sort of reassuring that if that small set of people enjoyed it, that there's really a good reason to believe that once you expand to more people across the world who have a chance to visit, that they probably will too. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and then one awesome thing about it too is just, if I think a lot of the things that we watch are things where you can tell the people are having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So for us, really, the only option was to do something that we're going to really enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do 3 shows a week, so if we didn't like doing it, this would be torture.
Yeah, and again, we're coming up on a year, so we start out with every Tuesday, Thursday, and after like
a week.
A couple of weeks, we're just like, we can do better.
Right.
So we just upped it to 3 times a week, and now we're releasing things on Saturdays, special things.
Yeah, on the side, some other stuff, like some sketches and things.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool.
So that's why we started ours.
Right.
Yeah, so today we want to talk about some of our favorite games and game moments in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's get into that. That's the part I'm most excited about here. Yeah. So I'm
Can't wait.
ready to dive into this. You want to kind of take the start here, Kevin? Like, what's some of your favorite moments?
Yeah, I already know everything about him, so I want to hear your stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be honored. I'm gonna come right out swinging with this first one. So whenever I have an opportunity to tell anyone about this, whether this is a video game fan or someone who doesn't care at all about video games, I just feel like this story about one of my favorite games, Metal Gear Solid, the whole series I really love, but specifically the very first game, there was a moment in this game where it was towards the middle of the game, and you were facing off against one of the main bosses in the game by the name of Psycho Mantis, who was a psychic. He can read your mind, everything you're about to do. So as you're facing off against him, you're realizing that everything you try to do, it's never damaging him at all, because he always knows what you're about to do next, so he's always able to avoid it. And there's no possible way that you can attack this guy. And at this moment, as you can see, I'm excited about talking about this. At this moment, I usually tell or ask the other person, like, what do you think had to happen in order for you to actually get past this? And I'm gonna ask you guys actually to see if you guys have just any guess. Like, what do you have to do in order to outsmart this psychic who knows exactly what you're about to do?
Oh man, that's such a classic like sci-fi show dilemma of like fighting like you're a clone or someone that has like the same knowledge as you. Man, I haven't played that one, so I don't know the answer, but guessing, I don't know. I mean, my first impulse would be like, you have to do things that are unpredictable,
But
that's
can predict it.
he would still be reading your mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is a tough thing to get around. I would probably spend about 2 weeks trying to solve that if I played that game.
I would say I would do something he couldn't get out of, like trying to throw like 4 grenades, one all around him, and just like, what are you gonna do?
Or just think really, really mean thoughts about him until he just starts crying.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, psychologically, I like that actually. I actually really like those. Those are actually 2 really good answers. It turns out that neither of those are the answer I was looking for, but they were good suggestions. They certainly were. What you had to do is, this psychic was reading all of your controller inputs into slot 1 as you're playing. The only way to get past him, you had to unplug out of slot 1 on PlayStation 1, plug it into the second slot, and then he's not able to read what you're doing, and then you could beat him.
What?
Oh my gosh.
How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
PlayStation 1, 20-something years ago, sort of like that moment, I was just like completely floored. And this is internet. I mean, internet was around, but not as prominent, so I couldn't just hop on YouTube or whatever. I was like pulling my hair out, like, what do I do here, and then finally figured it out. So that's my first moment right there. That's the first one.
That is fantastic.
I never would have figured that out.
No.
I'm playing through The Witcher 3 right now, and every single time I run into any like puzzle or anything, I'll spend maybe 10 minutes on it and then Google it. 'Cause, like, I can't imagine doing that like 20 years ago of like, just there's no info out there on putting it in the second slot. It's so brilliant. Like, they went to that like detail of like, you physically have to change the way you're playing. Man,
That's old school.
Really cool stuff.
That's
Yeah.
old school.
I want to hear about The Witcher, are you loving the game? Are you far enough where you're like into it? Like, because I love that game.
I got it a while back, and I was stuck like on early levels really for a long time, like 3 or 4. I couldn't get past it. Everything I would try to fight would kill me, and then I realized I had to kind of change it up and not take on quests. So I started doing. It's probably really boring for anyone who hasn't played this.
Sounds like you gave up.
No, what I started doing was I basically became an arms dealer. So I focused all of my energy on going around and attacking different bandit camps and just killing everyone, taking all of their swords and equipment, and then taking that and selling it so I could build up enough money to buy myself better gear. And since then, it's like taken off so fast for me. Like, I've played, like, in the last 2 days, I've gone up like another 15 levels. So I am hooked into it right now. But yeah, I love it. I love the fighting mechanics of it, like kind of like the dancing sword. Like, it's very, very smooth, and I like that. But yeah, fantastic game. Massive world. So many quests. Great character. Like, definitely one of my favorite things I've played in a long time.
All right, so I have something to contribute. I have not played either. I have not played either of those games. I have no idea what either of you guys are talking about. But I am currently playing through Left 4 Dead with my brothers.
Oh, nice.
With Josh and Luke.
Right.
Not that one. And that is a ton of fun. But my story hails from my childhood.
Okay.
And it is very short, but it is
Your
sweet.
childhood was short?
Yes, it was. This came in at 7. So I was playing Super Mario with my older brother Josh, and he's my older brother, so his job is to torment me. And
never let you win.
basically. And so he told me, he was like, it was like, all right, it was my turn. I was like, oh, cool, I get to play with my older brother. And so,
Hold on, can I say one thing real quick?
Yes.
I think it's funny, like, as a kid, when you have siblings, because all the adults in your life, when you play, like, a sport or a game or anything, or, like, board game, like, they typically let you win. But then when you have an older sibling, like, that's the one person that will keep you in check of, like, oh, you were not better than anyone.
Oh, yeah, and they'll go out of their way to make sure you don't win.
Right. Seriously.
And that makes you stronger, because you have to work for it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, sorry to interrupt.
So I was somewhere. Okay, so yes, playing Super Mario with my older brother, and it was my turn. And the whole rule is, and you guys might know this, when you're a kid, once you die, it is the other person's turn.
Yes.
That's how we all played, right?
Yeah, street
Okay.
rules.
Street rules, yeah. Living room rules.
Right.
So he told me, he was like, hey, if you jump down this this tube or this hole, is a warp to the princess, and you beat the level. And I'm like, sweet. So I jumped down.
I feel like I know where this is going.
So I jumped down and I died, and then it was
Right.
his turn, and I was like, "You jerk!" And I cried and I left.
How old were you? You said you were 7?
I was I was probably actually 7. Yeah, but
That's hilarious, and it stuck with you, didn't it?
yes, it did. It really did, because while you guys are like, "Yeah, I beat it. I felt amazing," and I was like, "Yeah, I died and I cried." That's my story.
Oh, I've had plenty of those moments of, like, playing a game as a kid, and then you're, like, really in the lead, and then, oh no, all of a sudden someone accidentally rips the controller out of this plug.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. That's so, it's the game equivalent of flipping over the table when you're playing Monopoly.
Yeah,
Right.
actually. So Kevin, you said you got another one?
I got a second one. So the next one is one that shaped my life. It shaped how I communicate with people. So there's a game by the name of I love how I'm like building it up. Like it's like a whole theatrical sort of presentation here. There's a series called Mass Effect. It's like, outer space. It's like visiting planets.
I played that one.
You did.
I played that one.
Okay, so all right, I'm glad. And both of you have a little bit.
I have not. I've wanted to, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. It's on my list.
But you at least heard of it, and okay, so that's good. So it's balanced now. You played the first one, and then okay. So so the way that game is, when you're communicating with various characters that you meet in the game, you have to answer questions and ask them questions, and you have like this little dial where you could like select what you want to say and things like that. And depending on how you react to certain things or how you respond to certain things, they may or may not befriend you, or they may or may not, give you information that you need to kind of proceed. And what I learned in that game is when they ask you a question in the game, you're like looking at the different options and you're thinking about, all right, if I say this might happen. You're kind of doing this little micro thing in your head. And I kind of carry that over to real life a little bit. And in a way of like, when I'm talking to people, instead of like immediately saying the first thing that comes to my mind once they're done talking, not taking a whole 3 minutes to kind of just sit there and just think of everything and then respond, but rather like thinking about
awkward.
Exactly. Like I just like sit there and just like Kevin, are you Kevin, are you still there? Did you like check out just now? What happened? But yeah, so I started doing that, and it's really one of those moments where I think it's like, okay, there's I believe there's a lot of positives that come out of games and things like that, as long as it's not too excessive that you play them. But I think this was one that was like really, really direct to the way that I sort of communicate with people.
That's really cool. And that's a really good point of like looking at what you're going to say, like what the effect of that will be. Not just whether you want to say it, but like how that might play out and affect somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a good way of going with it.
Yeah. I love it when you can take just any kind of really hobby that you just kind of do on the side or whatever, and you can apply it to your everyday life, and especially relationships with people or family. Love that. Like we were doing, until everything fell apart, improv classes.
Yeah.
And love them. Man, they were so much fun.
I know, and you get a lot out of that about listening to other people. Like you not like the key with improv is to not do what I'm currently doing of like interrupting someone else and dominating the conversation.
Yeah. You never want to do that.
Right. But no, a lot of it's about like, you're working on the scene together. You're not there to be like, I'm going to go out there and be the funniest person. No. You're going out there is like, I'm going to do whatever works the best for this scene, and whoever shines, that's great. Maybe next time it'll be me. Maybe this time it'll be me.
Yeah.
But your goal is just to make everyone else there look as good as possible. And if everyone has that mindset, everyone comes out looking good.
That's really, really interesting. On the next time we have a collaboration episode, I would love to hear more about that. So you guys, just real quick though, you guys said that you started doing it and then had to stop because of everything that happened, right?
Yeah, the quarantine.
How far did you guys get in? A couple of weeks or months?
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks. It was like 4 classes in, I think.
I think we were about 6, but we had to miss 2 of them.
Right.
Yeah, which really sucked.
Yeah, because we went on a cruise.
Yeah, super sucked.
Right.
Were you guys nervous, like, in the class? Like, is it, like, nerve-wracking or is it more fun?
First day.
Both. It's both.
Yeah, first day is really nerve-wracking. It's like, all right, come on, stand up. Act like you're a chair. And you're just like, in front of people?
Well, no, the great thing about it is, and I don't know if this is universal to improv, but at least for the class we're doing, the great thing is they really ease you into it. Like, the first thing you do is, like, stand around in a circle and, like, point at someone, and then they point at someone else. And you just do that. And then you, like, add another element to it. And then you move on to, like, something a little bit more involved and a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you're just diving headfirst into, like, all right, go out there and pretend that you're Superman in a shopping mart when they ran out of butter. Like, and you no idea what to do.
Would love to do that.
Yeah. It, like, really warms you up to it. But, yeah, it's definitely a nerve-wracking going into it for the first time.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But, yeah, so getting back to the games, I've got a moment. Do you have a moment you want to go with?
I will come up with another one.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, going off of kind of what you were saying of, like, taking away, like, a life lesson, I just played this game, like, a couple of months ago. Outer Worlds. Have you seen that?
I've heard of it. Yep. That's next on my list.
It's so it's a perfect game for me. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the show Firefly.
Yes.
It feels like that as a video game. So you're someone in a space colony, and you have this ship, and you're going around from colony to colony, doing all these different missions, trying to like save the colony from this group of corporations that runs everything, and is kind of slowly killing off everyone by mismanaging the whole space colony.
Firefly. All right.
Yeah. So, you build a team as you go along. Like, you'll come across certain characters that will go on, like, a mission with you. And then if you play it out a certain way at the end of the mission, they have the chance to join you and, like, go on your ship with you and be a part of your crew, which is so cool. Because you can play by yourself and you still feel like you're playing with, like, 8 other people. Because you have this whole team of people with you.
I like those games, yeah.
Yeah, but one thing early on in the game, because this is one of those games where it gives you, like, moral decisions you have to make at different times that change the outcome of the ending, which from what I understand, Mass Effect is kind of like too. Yeah.
It's almost like create your own adventure stories?
Sort of, yeah.
Games?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that game, one of the first places you're at is like this really run down tuna facility. That's some other name, like a space tuna.
Space tuna.
Right.
Yeah.
But so there's this packaging facility. It's like this small town. They're really run down, really low on supplies. And part of them split off and went and formed a different colony somewhere else. And they're using part of the resources from the main group. And so you have to decide whether to go and shut down this group of people that kind of rebelled and left the main colony. And if you help them, the main colony, all of them die because they lose all of their resources, their electricity, and like they basically can't continue to live there. But if you choose to save them, then the people who rebelled, they're in that position of kind of dying off. And so I won't kind of give away like how that all plays out, but I didn't think through my decision in that. I didn't think it would matter at all. And so I made a decision that later I really regretted. And so for the whole rest of the game, I like carried that with me as if it was actually part of like my history as a person. Like every planet I would go to, I would face a decision. I'm like, I can't relive the same thing that happened to the tuna people. I can't let it happen again.
The space tuna people.
Right.
Yeah, I killed them all.
Yeah, so it was just one of those moments of like, your actions have consequences even in a game, and you have to live with that either for the rest of the game or for the rest of your life, depending on which one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Man, that's really, really cool. And I think that as you continue, if you plan to continue through The Witcher and the DLCs, like
absolutely.
that was definitely everything you were just saying about moral decisions, and like that's how I experienced The Witcher. So I look forward to you experiencing that next.
Yeah, I've run into one or two of those moments so far, and it's played out well from what I was hoping. So
You sound confident in that.
yeah, well, I mean, I might have caused one entire town to be killed off, but I did save a lot of orphans. So
Wait, did you cause the orphans?
no, I didn't cause them. They were caused by like these 3 evil sisters, but I liberated them. It's not my fault if a town died as a result of that.
Well, Kevin, who are we to judge?
Right.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah. But yeah, so
I do have another one.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of this one I didn't end up crying at. So good story for me so
Right.
far. And this is actually back in high school. I was in computer class, not working at all, and super basic game, Snake. Just Snake game. It's
which
just what do.
for a while they had a version of
Interrupt.
that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's like my thing.
We do it to each other constantly.
Right. But I mean, for a while on YouTube, actually, you could like press like control some letter, and then it would bring up like a game of Snake while the video loaded, and you could like play that on the screen.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if it's still a thing. I'd have to Google that, but yeah, I will not interrupt you for the rest of your story.
Can I use the rest of my time this remaining?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
My storage is like 30 seconds long.
I know. I'm just excited to be. See, there I go doing it again.
So I'm in computer class, not working. It's like senior year, 11th grade, something like that. And I beat it. That's pretty much it. I beat the game Snake. I ate my own tail. I don't know a single other person that's done that. And I stood up in class and was like, and told the teacher.
So you beat it? Does that mean that like the whole Snake took up the whole screen, or how did it?
I took up every cube until I ate my own tail, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I didn't know that was possible.
I didn't know either.
I didn't know there was like an end to Snake.
Yeah.
I thought you just die. Everyone just dies at some point.
I finished it and I was like, I can't believe this. And that was hours and hours of computer class working.
Right.
Well, you're clearly. I mean, not even. I might say it might sound like sarcastic in saying this, but I'm not. Like that's like a celebrity type of a thing. It's like I've never met as a gamer. I've never met or heard anyone beating the game before. So I think that's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll take that.
Same.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
That should be the thing you lead with anytime you meet someone.
I just forgot. I don't know. But I just quick shout out. I am wearing my N64 sweatshirt, representing my favorite system.
Nice.
So many memories with that.
Oh yeah.
So good. Kevin, how old are you?
32. I had to think about it for a second.
33.
Nice. Okay.
Same systems, same age. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm younger than both of you guys, but I also had N64 as like my sole system growing up because my parents thought that the Xbox wasn't going to play out, like when the first Xbox came out. So they went with the N64 because they were like, that will never last. And then the N64 got kind of phased out by all these other systems. But yeah, I mean, I grew up on the same thing of like...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't get like a PlayStation until I was like, I don't know, at 14, 15, something around there.
Oh, this might be confusing, Kevin. We're stepbrothers.
Brothers-in-law.
Brothers-in-law.
Okay.
Brothers-in-law.
Yeah.
We're just not blood. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's why I was like, I didn't know your parents did that. It's like, I thought you guys were brothers.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and just let this play out. Let's just see what happens here. You know?
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah, we're just close enough. We dropped the in-law part, I guess.
Yeah, and that to me, when you say like in law, it kind of sounds like
you're forced by the law.
you're forced. Yeah. Like that's my brother. But because the law told me.
Because my sister made a horrible decision.
What was that?
So you guys are like really? Would you say you're tight, like brothers would be?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. That's really cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, we live together, we work together, we make the show together. So.
And y'all doing an awesome job on the show, I have to say. And I also want to say that I read back to one of you reached out to me way back when I first, I guess, started using YouTube hashtags on Instagram. and
Yeah,
welcomed
probably.
me.
Yeah.
Welcomed me to the YouTube community. I read through that message recently. I was like, that was really, it stood out compared to, I'm sure you guys as YouTubers, you kind of see the sub for sub thing when people are, oh, you want to like that type of thing, and just like a whole bunch of stuff, which by the way, once we get into, we'll talk about that in a moment when we get to the next segment, but it just really stood out, and so I appreciate that, and just like I said earlier, just excited to meet you guys this way. And I mean, the video game, this might have to be a recurring thing, because I have a ton more stories and video game stuff to talk about, but we got 30 minutes.
All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. As you may notice, we are wearing different clothes. That's because we have decided to split this episode up into 2 parts.
Also, because we own more than one pair of clothes.
That's true. We're a little braggy like that.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. The next episode will be our continued conversation with Kevin, all about our YouTube experience and stories.
Yeah, basically what we've gone through, what he's gone through, and what advice we can give to any of you interested in having your own YouTube channels.
Yep.
So if you're interested in hearing that part of the conversation, be sure to check back in for part 2 of this episode.
Yep. And as always,
IKAGA. Yup.
Yay!